mission is important on multiple levels, starting all the way from strategic down through the tactical level. So we will be conducting 2 missions pretty much, which are crisis response and force protection. So we are responsible for securing multiple locations in East Africa, as well as responding to any crisis, failed state, assisting with military departure and embassies. So it's some higher level things, but ultimately we're just reinforcing the strategic importance of our presence in East Africa.
And would you be able to clarify, we were all a little confused about, we know there's about 300 of you on here today, and then 1,100 will eventually be deployed. Can you explain those numbers to us so we can have it correct and so we don't confuse?
Without a doubt. So because a normal battalion is 747 soldiers, give or take, broken into 5 companies. So this task force calls for 9 different companies. So we're kind of we're bigger than a normal battalion, so that's why we're going with the task force. In terms of the company footprint that was here today, it was a representation of those 1,100 soldiers broken into the 9 companies. Like I mentioned earlier, 2 companies are from our sister battalion, 1st of the 112, out in and around Erie. There's 2 companies coming from 1st and 111th Infantry, headquartered in Plymouth Meeting. There's a company from the Cav Troop, and then I have 4 out of my 5 organic companies.
Okay, and I don't know if you're allowed to tell us this or not. Will you guys be deployed after Christmas?
So we worked very hard to ensure that the soldiers will be home for Christmas.
That's awesome. So kind of going off of that, what is the, I know it is hard to be deployed at any time of the year. Why was it important for you to, you guys to work around and for them to be able to spend that, one last Christmas before being overseas?
Without a doubt, we are unable to do what we do without families supporting us. So having and being home for Christmas was of extreme importance, not only to me, but to the state as well. So we had a lot of support in ensuring that we were able to be in our homes for the holidays.
Okay, all the questions I have. Anything else you wanted to add?
So just looking out over the crowd today, we see a lot of young men and women here today, graduating, moving on. Tell us about the significance of that, continuing to see young people get involved, active in the military, wanting to, do right there in their country, and maybe inspire the next generation to do it as well.
Without a doubt, it's an extremely good question, right? So I think that what it ultimately boils down to is purpose, right? Far too often these days, it appears that everyone's kind of looking out for themselves. They're worried about the individual, but the soldier of this formation, from the newest private to the sergeant major, we really stress service over self, and they live it, they embody it, and every day I'm proud to be with them.
I know you just discussed the purpose of the mission, but what are your expectations for the soldiers going out there?
That's a tough one. So it all depends on where they're going ultimately. But my expectations are for the soldiers is to remain professional at all times. Be ready in case they're needed to take action.
And in terms of the families here for their loved ones going away, what's the ultimate message you want to send to them? I know that there was the statement made that whatever families need, that they would be provided for. You're hoping families go out of here proud, believing that their other family members are in good hands.
Without a doubt, like I mentioned earlier, any deployment is going to be a stress on the family, but knowing that we have the full support of high-level leaders at the state and with the governor is really it's important to us and means a lot to us during this challenging time for the soldiers.
Commander, you had said 1,100 people. Are they all from Pennsylvania? I know it was mentioned that there were some other states mixed in there too.
Yeah, it's a good. So the 1,100 people is all Pennsylvania Army National Guard soldiers. When I was talking and referring to how it speaks volumes for the organization, we have soldiers that'll travel out of state to come to go to their units that are within the Pennsylvania Army National Guard.
Oh, okay.
So this is all 1,100 are the Pennsylvania Army National Guard.
Some of them live in other states.
Without doubt.
Okay. You said there was like 6 months of training earlier.
We've pretty much been training for the past year for this operation, but during the last 6 months, it was when it was the most intense. We had two prolonged training events. One focused more on individual, and one focused more on collective.
And then they'll be going to Fort Bliss.
Fort Bliss.
So, how long will you be in Fort Bliss, and then when do you actually go to Africa?
There's a whole timeline of what that looks like, and it's dependent upon us meeting gates.
Okay. But so everybody will be going to Fort Bliss after Christmas, and then at some point moving onward after. Okay. And most of that work, you would say, like embassy protection, things of that nature. So, like for the average person, what are they going to be doing on a day-to-day basis?
Right. So it all depends on where they're going. Like I mentioned, there are 6 locations that the different companies will be doing different missions. So some of them are more focused on security missions. Some are crisis response. So quick reaction force in the country of Djibouti, as well as the East Africa Response Force, which is responsible for responding to any crisis on the continent.
And how many recent deployments have there been? I mean, I know the Pennsylvania National Guard has done like border stuff in Texas. I know there was some in Kuwait recently.
Right. So I don't have that exact number in front of me, but I can tell you for the 56th Stryker Brigade, headquartered out of Horsham. So that's the higher level, and then we're battalions of that brigade. So the last time we deployed to a combat zone was 2008, and since then we've been through multiple training cycles to get ready for this mission, to get ready for deployments. 2 National Training Center rotations in Fort Irwin, California. This unit is prepared for what's ahead.
And do you have any idea how long the deployment is? How long you would stay in Africa? I know they have a timeline.
Right. So the timeline is again based upon too many variables to come down with a true timeline. But